Now for the fun part. Trig ratios. Ah! Okay. A trigonometric function is a function whose rule is defined by a trig ratio. Okay? A trig ratio compares the lengths of two sides of the triangle. You're going to take two sides of a triangle and divide them. And that's it. That's what a trig ratio is. Your job will be to recognize which sides are you dividing. Okay? The Greek letter theta, it's like a 0 with a horizontal line through it, and that's spelled T-H-E-T-A, theta, is used to represent the measure of an acute angle in a right triangle. There it is right there. Okay, so if ever I say theta, I'm talking about an angle. Okay, again, it's like a 0 with a horizontal line through it. Okay, so there are three main trig ratios we're going to look for. Okay, sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay, here's the thing. You need a scientific calculator. If you do not have one, you will need to go buy one. Okay, while you're in class with me, you can use mine, but I only have 25 of them, so they cannot go home with you. They have to stay here with me, so you must go buy one. These ones here are $12 at Walmart. Okay, they're pretty cheap, and they have, you're going to look for something that says sine, cos, tan. Sine, cosine, tangent. That's what you want on your calculator. You will not be able to do this on your phone. Okay? I know if you flip your phone sideways, it shows up with the scientific calculator, but on the test, you will not be able to use those on your test. You must have a scientific calculator. Anyway, okay. Here we go. Let's talk about this. Sine, cosine, tangent. Sine, abbreviated S-I-N. We still say sine. We don't say sin. Sine of theta. It's a ratio. It's a fraction. This is the opposite side. So the opposite side, so you're going to go, what's opposite of theta? A, okay. Over the hypotenuse. Okay. So in this triangle here, what's the opposite side of theta? So you're going to look, which side does not make angle theta? Angle theta is created by side B and C. So the side opposite of that is A. And then where's the hypotenuse? C. Okay? So that is sine. Cosine, abbreviated cos, C-O-S, cosine of theta is the adjacent side, which means the side next to it, that's not the hypotenuse. So the side next to this guy is B, divided by the hypotenuse, which is still C. Okay? And then tangent, abbreviated tan, T-A-N, is the opposite side divided by the adjacent side. So the opposite side is A, and the adjacent side is B. Okay, this is a lot to remember, so I'm going to teach you a mnemonic device that will help you remember this, okay? And you're going to write it on your paper right underneath this triangle. It's S-O-H-C-A-H-T-O-A. SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA will stick with you forever. If you really want to learn this stuff, you will remember SOHCAHTOA. Here's how SOHCAHTOA works. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. Opposite over adjacent. So is sine. Do not write SOH of theta. That's not correct. I had people do that last year, and it drove me nuts because it's not correct. Okay? Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. They all stand for something. Okay, so that will help you remember what these are. Okay, let's talk about the reciprocal functions. Reciprocal means I take this and I flip it over. I put it underneath one. So there are actually 6 trigonometric ratios in a triangle. There's the 3 main ones, and then the opposite of the 3 main ones, okay? So 1 divided by sine of theta is called cosecant. Cosecant. I'm stuffed up, sorry, it sounds weird. Cosecant, okay, abbreviated CSC. You will not find these on a scientific calculator, but that's okay. We can plug it in just like it is. So if sine is opposite over hypotenuse, the reciprocal of that would be hypotenuse over opposite, which in this case would be C over A. You just flip it. You flip it over. Reverse it. Okay? So cosecant is the opposite of sine. Secant is the opposite of cosine. So cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Then secant would be hypotenuse over adjacent, which would be C over B. C over B. You flip it upside down. Okay? And then tangent. The opposite of tangent is cotangent. I don't know why. I think the reason they don't have cosine is because we already have cosine. So they call it cosecant, secant, cosine. Here's how you can remember. Each opposite has a co in it. So sine has cosecant, cosine has secant, and tangent has cotangent. Someone brought that up last year, and I thought that was really interesting. So in case you can't remember, each pair of opposites has one co in it. So anyway, tangent has cotangent, abbreviated COT, C-O-T. So if tangent is opposite over adjacent, then cotangent is adjacent over opposite. And this would be B over A. All right, let's do one example in the video, and then we'll do one example in class. Okay? So we're going to do number 9. I know this is a lot to take in. I don't have a mnemonic device to remember these, but just remember SOHCAHTOA, flip it over, and there's your reciprocal functions, okay? All right, let's do one example. Let's do number 9. Find all 6 trig ratios for theta shown in the triangle below. So here's the thing when we use trig ratios, we need to know the length of all 3 sides. So we need all 3 sides. And we learned a formula earlier on in this lesson, I know it seems like forever ago, how to find the third side. Hopefully you remember the Pythagorean theorem. You're going to use it to help you find this third side. So I know a squared plus b squared equals c squared. This is why we learned this again, because you're going to use it, okay? So I don't know the hypotenuse. I'm looking for that. That's what I'm trying to find. But I do know the 2 legs. So 30 squared plus 16 squared equals c squared. So 30 squared, well, 3 times 3 is 9. So 900 plus, I believe 16 squared is 256. 256 equals c squared. Add those together, you get 1156 equals c squared. Take the square root. So square root of 1156 is 34. Look at that, a nice whole number. So we know that the hypotenuse is 34. Okay? We have all 3 sides now. We can find all 6 trig functions. Again, SOHCAHTOA. I write this down everywhere when I'm trying to use it. It helps me remember. When you take your test, write it all over your test. Just write it all over, okay? So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So here's our theta. The opposite side of theta is 16 over the hypotenuse is 34. That's it. Okay? We'll do all 3 of these, and then we'll do those 3. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent is 30 divided by 34. Okay? And then tangent is opposite over adjacent. So opposite over adjacent, 16 divided by 30. Okay? And that's it. You can reduce these down if you want to. I'm not going to mark you down if you don't. Okay? So let's find the other ones, the opposite. So all you have to do to find these is take these and flip them over. So the reciprocal of 16 over 34 is 34 over 16. Reciprocal of 34, or 30 over 34 is 34 over 30. And then the reciprocal of 16 over 30, flip it over, 30 over 16. All right. So we'll do example number 10 as a class. I would not recommend you try starting this on your own just because you're going to have to do an extra step, but that's okay. I can show you how to do it in class as a whole. So that's it for trig functions and reciprocal functions. In the next video, we'll talk about trig ratios of special angles.